There will always be a special place in my heart for the movie musical and for the songs that create their most memorable moments. Here to perform the Oscar-nominated, gorgeously empowering song, Let It Go, from the Oscar-winning animated movie Frozen, please welcome the wickedly talented one and only...
All alone in an empty room, nothing left but the memories of when I had my best friend, and I don't know how we ended up here. I don't know, but it's never been so clear. We made a mistake, dear, and I see the broken glass in front of me. I see your shadow hanging over me, and your face I can see through the trees. I will find you, I will heal the ruins left inside you, 'cause I'm still here breathing now. I'm still here breathing now. I'm still here breathing now until
Intro, who's your favorite Oscar?
Who's my favorite Oscar?
Yeah.
Oh, Oscar the Grouch, obviously.
Oh, very, very good choice. Michael, favorite Oscar?
I had a pet cat named Oscar when I was a kid.
You're both wrong. The answer is Oscar Isaac.
Oh. What
that
about
is
Oscar?
that's a good choice.
What about Oscar De La Hoya?
De La Hoya, the boxer?
Yeah.
No.
No, not even running.
No, Oscar Isaac won. I'm sorry.
Sounds like a split decision.
Yeah, seriously. Because Oscar the
No,
Grouch
it's a
is pretty
knockout.
Cool.
Oscar De La Hoya.
What are their other Oscars? Oscar the Grouch, De La Hoya,
Uh,
and Isaac were the only three that I could really think of anyway. Oscar.
There's Oscar and Felix from The Odd Couple. That's all I can think of.
There's Oscar from The Office.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his last name is.
I don't know. Yeah, not a ton of Oscars. Or
Oh,
we
there's
just-
Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde.
Wow. Yeah.
Good pull, yeah.
Oh, Oscar Bluth. I'm looking him up now. Oh, Oscar Martinez from The Office.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Martinez,
Yeah.
right.
Martinez.
Did you just Google famous Oscars?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
And I like how like the second one is a fake character that they came up with.
Yeah, Oscar Bluth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the Oscars that. Oh no, Oscar Erickson from
Who's
Let the
that?
Right One In. But I don't think you would know that, Tim.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm scared just by the name. I don't know. Oscar Schindler. Right?
No.
Wasn't Schindler's first name Oscar?
I don't think his name was. Wait a minute.
Wait, the guy who had the list?
Oskar, yeah, from Schindler's List. I think it's Oscar Schindler. Is it not?
Schindler's
I don't know.
List. I'm looking it up, researching. Hold on. Wikipedia is my friend. Oh, his name was Oscar.
Yeah. It's pretty sad that we went with a Muppet and a character from Arrested Development before the Schindler's List guy.
Man, I don't think anybody wants to remember Schindler's List.
Jesus, shots fired.
It's a good movie. It's just sad. It's about. I don't want to remember like Holocaust
Sure,
movie.
but a very weird takeaway from that movie is
I don't
want
wanna
to. We
watch
should
this
all
guy.
forget this happened. I think like that's the exact opposite vibe they were going for. Welcome to Film Brothers, the podcast where one of us watches a film or chooses a film at least one of the others hasn't seen. We watch it and we talk about it. But wait a minute, what's that? The stars are out in Hollywood tonight.
Oh my god.
Look, I see them over there. There's Mary Lou Henner. There's
Is that Oscar Isaac?
There's Joe Pesci. Look at that, walking.
Oh, I
What are
think
you
I
wearing,
hear
Joe?
I think I hear Al Pacino. Hooah!
yeah, we're doing an Oscar special, as we've done in the past, where we've suspended the normal rules, and we really suspended it because all three of us chose films to talk about, related in some way to a film nominated this year, and all three of us have already seen every film. So,
No.
No.
really?
No. And I
Oh,
will, we
you
will get to
hadn't
that.
seen right.
Incha hadn't seen Looper, and I am
hadn't seen-
very upset by this that I wasted Looper on the Oscar special.
I don't think it's wasted.
I mean, I'm glad I got to
And
watch
you'll
it with
see-
you, but I could have
and
picked.
you'll
I could have picked a different movie.
No, because we'll get into it. But it's a good choice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What would you have picked if you'd known that you could have saved Looper for a full episode?
Anything else?
yeah, right?
Anything, just anything.
Oh, I don't know. Fever Pitch. Let's say that.
What would that relate? What movie would that relate to?
Some baseball movie.
Love
Was there a
it.
baseball
Love
movie?
it.
Was there a baseball movie this year?
No, because normally we're just flooded with baseball movies every year. Can't get enough baseball movies these days.
League of Their Own, Sandlot. They just
Yeah,
keep
when you
coming.
said
There was
Fever
no-
Pitch, I thought you were
There
going to say.
wasn't-
I thought you meant Pitch Perfect at first. But no, you meant a worse movie. I think probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right, so I'll go first.
Yeah, so what I guess so for this week, I will say that our episode of Filmers is sponsored by Emery.com, fine art, paintings, and photography by a couple named Ashley King and Aaron Zambi. Use code RUNNER10 at checkout for 10% off your first order. Buy their modern art.
There's got to be a rhyme or reason to which weeks you decide to call them a creative couple and which ones you don't.
Or just forget their names entirely until
Yep.
like the last minute.
And they're also very creative. ENAOMOY. What?
No, you gotta say it. You have to spell it correctly.
ENAMORY.com.
There you go.
An Amber. So yeah, maybe we should explain. Michael, do you want to explain the Oscar concept? Because we've gone from one pointless concept for the show to another one for this Oscar special.
Yeah, I
And-
mentioned it I mentioned it briefly, but what we did, we each chose a film that's in some way, like thematically, or with an actor or director, or just anything we could come up with to relate it to a movie that's nominated this
Right.
year.
And you guys did
And
that
we-
last year.
We did, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, with Billy Jarnahead. Billy. No, I think what happened to him canonically in the show? I think
He's still in a jar.
No, I think we put
Halloween
his brain
3,
into a
right?
guy. Yeah, in the Halloween 3 one, I think we had his brain in a jar, but then we found a guy who looked exactly like him, killed him, and put it in. But then he ran away like Frankenstein. So we don't know. We don't know where it is.
We don't know.
His jar is always open if he wants to return. We can plop that brain back in there and hook up some sort of talk to text. Oh man, that would have been such a better idea. We could have said we still had Billy, and he just did talk to text, and I could have inserted random talk to text things every once in a while. Be like, "Calm down, Billy." Stop.
Just get Alexa to say stuff in front of a
Yeah,
microphone. Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. So just sort of thematically similar films. So I chose, related to Greyhound, the Tom Hanks naval battle film, which was nominated for Best Sound. So it's a real...
Is that the only thing that it got nominated for?
I believe so, yeah.
Ugh.
So I chose 1995's Crimson Tide.
This year,
We have a properly formatted emergency action message from National Command Authority.
what we've always known
Bravo, Echo, Charlie, Alpha.
becomes what we've always feared.
Telling this to the captain, Russian rebels have threatened to launch against our country and are fueling right now.
This is not a drill. Now,
Sir, we have a possibly submerged submarine.
You find out who that is.
Receiving emergency action message. Recommend alert 1.
the battle for survival begins.
That's a message fragment.
Sir, we don't know what this message means. Our target package could have changed.
I've made a decision.
There's no place for fear.
He's lost his nerve.
I'd rather go out myself and get this one wrong.
There's no room for mistakes.
If we launch and we're wrong, what's left of Russia is going to launch at us.
I'm captain of this boat. I don't have to think this over.
There's no time for doubt.
Missile systems ready to launch in 6 minutes.
You repeat this order, or I'll find somebody who will.
Hell no, you won't, sir.
And nothing can stop the tide.
Torpedoes in the water!
Right, Forerunner.
1,000 yards of closing dive! Make your depth 1,200 feet!
We cannot launch our missiles unless both you and I agree.
They're fueling their missiles.
It's right on top of us!
Please, Commando. Under arrest. Under charge of mutiny.
Launch your ready. Block Captain Ramsey in his stateroom.
Fire one.
Now!
Give me the missile key, Mr. Hunter.
Sir, we are going down!
I'm the commander of this ship.
Crimson Tide.
God help you if you're wrong.
If I'm wrong, then we're at war. God help us all.
Submarine movie starring Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington, directed by Tony Scott. It's about a U.S. nuclear submarine whose commanding officer sort of clashes with his new executive officer because they have very different theories and opinions about how to run things. And they get a fragment of a command telling them to launch nuclear missiles. So there's a power struggle. And Tim, you had seen it before, right?
I had. Well, no, not really. I saw it.
So much. You saw it so many times.
No, like I remember watching it as a kid, but like watching it again now, like there wasn't a lot of it that I perfectly remembered. Like the main thing that stuck out for me was him running through the sub and like exercising.
Oh yeah.
Which doesn't have anything to do with the story.
No.
It's just a neat, just like a neat thing that I guess people would do on a submarine is just jog on it, like
Yeah, just run up and down. Just-
right.
yeah. And Insha, you have seen it once recently,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I seen it, twice. I watched it after.
Right. So we'll start with you. What's your opinion on it?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I hate Denzel Washington. I don't not hate him anymore.
What?
I've had a bit of a change of heart, kinda, sorta, but it's a perfectly driven, enclosed space drama that kind of gives me anxiety, especially because everybody's in such close quarters. The acting is brilliant. The fucking dialogue's brilliant. The script is so tight. I love it. I love everything about it. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Tim?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I love this movie.
Even you hated Denzel too?
Yeah, 100% hate that guy. No, Denzel's great. I don't know why it doesn't like him.
No, I have reasons. I'm not going to talk about it on the show, but I have some reasons. I had some reasons. That's the thing about changing from the part. I'm fine with him now. He can't come to dinner.
Kind of sounds like Denzel like beat you up once.
Yeah, right? Or like called you names or like didn't sign your autograph one time. But yeah, I thought it's great. Like you said, it's a stressful movie in several parts, which I think is really cool. And I think the ethical quandary that it brings up is an interesting thing to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are right. Like that's why I love. You guys are right because you agree this movie's great. No, about like that's why I love submarine movies because you just putting a bunch of people into an enclosed area and their job is very dangerous and also serious, and it's like almost literally a powder keg. So it's very like not only can something if they fuck up. Not only could they kill themselves and everybody else on the sub, but in this specific scenario, because it's a U.S. nuclear submarine, they could kill millions or billions of people, if not the entire world, by starting a nuclear holocaust, right?
Right.
Which
And I will
Denzel in the movie says nuclear holocaust, but he pronounces holocaust so like holocaust or something. Like he pronounces it so odd that line read always like sticks out to me.
You know what's going on here?
Yes, sir.
No, I don't think you do. Let me explain it to you. If we launch and we're wrong, what's left of Russia is going to launch at us. There will be a nuclear holocaust beyond imagination. So it's all about knowing, Mr. Bossler. We have to know whether or not our order to launch has been recalled or not. The only way we're going to know is if you fix that radio. You understand me? What if Rodchenko surrendered and it's over? We launch, they see us, they launch. Our birds pass each other in the air. Boom. What do you got?
Nuclear war.
Nuclear holocaust.
When you start talking, I didn't think about it, but then as soon as you said it, like Holocaust, I do remember him saying.
You remember it? Yeah.
I just like, oh yeah, he did say it that way.
Yeah.
I will also say there is a ton of people on this sub. Did you see like that opening, like when Gene Hackman is like in front of everybody saying his speech, and they all just run towards the sub?
Mm-hmm.
That seems like way too many people to be on one submarine.
I don't know. It seemed like a pretty big sub.
Very claustrophobic. It's a lot of people. In every single part of that sub, it just seemed like there was way too many people around. Especially on like the main deck. This is like, you don't need that many people up there. Just
How do you know?
like it's just too
How many
much.
people should run a nuclear sub, Incha?
Maybe like 2.
Yeah, that's true. Shifts. You can do shifts. 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
Morning Sam, morning Ralph. You just pass the key back and forth.
I will say that whole key sequence thing is really neat. Like that's just a cool, I don't know, motif that comes with, like, of course they have some sort of secret chain of codes or whatever that they have to break, I guess, for some reason, but it looked clear, like clear plastic, so.
Yeah, they do a good job of setting up early on because they run a drill about what the keys do and what an emergency action message is and like how they authenticate it and how many people need to concur for it to happen, so that when it's happening for real later, you understand what's going on and when Denzel stops it, like how deep into the procedure they go. And yeah, I also liked at the end when Viggo Mortensen is Weps, I think his name is, when he wouldn't release the thing to like launch the missile at the end, so Hackman goes there and like Viggo is the only person on the boat who knows the combination to actually launch the missile. So there are like so many fail-safes, but it does a good job of showing how that shit can all break down.
Right. And now that you bring him up, what did you guys think of Viggo Mortensen's character?
He was good. His character's a little pussy though. Like,
right? Like he seemed to flip-flop quite a bit. Like,
yeah, like he's cool at the end when he's like he's like, yeah, shoot me in the head, I don't care, I'm not doing it. But then Gene Hackman's like, fine, I'll shoot this fucking private or whatever the fuck. But yeah, early it's like, make up your mind and stick with it. Like, at least say what you will about Hackman and Denzel in it. They at least have like well thought out.
They picked sides. Like
well thought out like points. You know, whether you agree with them or not. But
I think he was a well thought out character. I think because of the fact that he had such a hard job. Like, he's the only person on the sub who knows those codes. He's friends with Denzel Washington's character, like, I guess lifelong friends or whatever. And then, like, he's loyal to his job. So it's kind of like weird.
I think the character was well thought out. I just think I didn't like I liked the character as a character. I didn't like him as a person because I was like, he kept flip-flopping.
See, I don't know. Well, and maybe that is his character too, but to me, it just seemed like he was so easy to flip sides. Like first he went with, I mean, he was at Denzel's kid's birthday and he was easy to give him up to the captain and let him take him away with guns and just give him up away. And then he flipped again to side with Denzel when he let them all free. And then he flipped again to was it to give the codes, or I don't remember exactly what it was. But there's 3 times where he just,
because he's
the last time
he's a
it's
hard
'cause-
man in the middle.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is. Yeah, it's true. The last time he flipped was because Hackman was going to kill an innocent kid, so that one made sense.
Yeah.
But I liked a similar, not a similar character, but a different character in a similar position is George Zunza's character, who's like, I can't remember his title or whatever, but when he takes Denzel's aside and they relieve Hackman of his command, and then Denzel like thanks him and he's like, "Hey, fuck you! I don't agree with what you did, but Hackman just can't. That's against the rules for him to try to relieve you just because you didn't concur." Like I liked his character a lot too.
Yeah, like I think that's a good thing that they set up with, Denzel having one side, Hackman having the other side, and then this guy being his only side is what's written down in the
like
paperwork,
the
right?
letter of military command or whatever. Like
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So obviously he hated Denzel, but so maybe it is neat to have then the third thing of a flip floppy Viggo Mortensen. I just thought I didn't like him for it.
Job of yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Like I liked him and I appreciate the situation he was in, but it did disappoint me when he flip flopped like away from Denzel.
Yeah.
But he did look cool the whole movie looks cool because Tony Scott can direct a fucking movie. But like you were saying earlier about him giving the speech in the rain, like that all looks fantastic. And
I love the lights throughout the submarine.
Yeah,
how
the green and red and blue lighting and shit. And when like at the end when Viggo decides not to launch the thing and he's like just smoking and like bathed in like light, it looks cool. I like Gandolfini in the movie, even though he's an asshole.
Was he doing sub trivia at the beginning on the bus?
Yes, submarine movie trivia. That's another thing. So Quentin Tarantino did an uncredited like script doctoring on it to punch up the lines, and all of his lines are so obviously Tarantino.
Right.
Like that part where they're doing just like submarine movie trivia on the bus. Later when there's an argument about who draws Silver Surfer better, Kirby or Mobius or whatever. And then when he's describing to the guy, like, when he's like, in Star Trek, when they need more power, and he's like, Scotty, give me more power. And the guy's like, yeah, he's got to get the warp speed or something. And he's like, yeah. It's like, that's such an obvious Tarantino line, too.
The nerdiest lines ever said by Denzel Washington and James Gandolfini.
Yeah, absolutely. But he also, allegedly, added the dialogue about the Lipinzaner stallions or whatever, and I think that's amazing at the end. Because it's like, there's a racial tension throughout the entire movie, and it never boils to the surface, really. It's just sort of understated and implied, but then Denzel gets that fucking killer line at the end when he's like, actually, they're from Spain and they're born black or whatever, when Hackman's like, they're from Portugal and they're all white or something.
So here's the thing. I didn't get the racial tension throughout the entire film. Maybe that's my naivety or whatever, but my naiveness, is that the word?
Naivete.
There you go. So like that whole black and white horse thing at the end kind of came out of nowhere for me. I wrote it down and was like, what is happening?
I think it's just sort of, it's very understated, and then at the end it's not even, I don't even think it's that, like not worst case but like at least it's just like Hackman being pissed at Denzel and saying a racist remark to like piss him off, and Denzel being like, no, fuck you, buddy. Like just letting it slide off his shoulders. But I think throughout there is a bit of a racial element, like to their push and pull throughout most of the movie.
Anybody else super stressed out that they were going to shoot a gun in that tiny little submarine?
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime they were pointing guns at each other, I was like, holy shit, like this is so stupid.
Like, why do they even have, like, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they have guns on a submarine in case like they go topside and need to shoot down another boat, I guess. I don't know. But like is anybody
like
actually is anybody afraid that they're going to shoot that thing? Wouldn't it, like I said, wouldn't it ricochet off a bunch of stuff and hit things it's not supposed to? Like a sub seems so metal and small.
Mm-hmm. It was. I mean, small. I think at least there was like, wasn't there like a gun locker or something? So it's not like everybody was walking around with guns like all the time until the mutiny happened. then they were.
Yeah, but both sides got guns at one point.
Yeah. That's when the mutiny happened. Yeah, it was. I was definitely concerned when they had the guns out, for sure. Steve Zahn. Steve Zahn dies, right? Steve Zahn dies, and then Ricky Schroeder has to like close the door on the rest of the people when they're trying to fix the boat. Is Ryan Phillippe in the movie too? Yeah.
Don't know as who, but yeah.
I think he's just some nameless sailor, nameless seaman. Yeah, a crazy cast, like a really good cast.
Yeah, you're right. With Steve Zahn in there, I didn't really expect it. Like he has such a small role. It must have been wasn't one of his first ones.
It must have been, right? 95. I don't know.
What's that fucking movie called? Cruel Intentions. Yeah, Cruel Intentions 99. So yeah, probably.
Oh. I don't know. He just had such a minor role and dies really quickly. Not really quickly, but quick enough.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, Steve Zahn was in Reality Bites in 94, and then Crimson Tide in 95. But in 92, he was in Rain Without Thunder, which is something I've never heard of. So,
I did really like that when he was pushing the hatch close when it was filling up with water, and like he was just slightly too late, so he has to like it starts to geyser up through.
Yeah, when it's like spilling out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool too. It was a good scene because it showed like that was after Denzel took command from Gene Hackman, and it was important for us to see that he's not just, I mean, not that I think stopping nuclear war makes you a coward, but like you could see how these sort of hardened military men would think like, oh, he just doesn't have the guts to like do what needs to be done. But then when he forces Rick Schroeder to like lock his friends in and drown or they'll lose the ship, he fucking does it, and like he makes that sacrifice. I mean, he makes somebody else make that sacrifice, but he did what had to be done. So it showed like, no, he's just got like certain principles. It's not that he's afraid to make tough decisions in general,
and I think it was a good parallel because Hackman almost maybe you could argue that he caused someone to die earlier in the movie too, right?
Yeah, when the kitchen caught fire or something, and then the chef died or whatever.
Yeah, and somebody had a heart attack.
Yeah, and Hackman was really rude about the dead guy. It was like, it wasn't the fire that killed
it was
whatever.
300 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, calm down, man.
Did you think? Like, I want to know if they filmed two endings.
What with the two?
Like one where Hackman was right.
I doubt it. I don't think they filmed an ending where it ended with nuclear war. If that's what you think.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I would doubt it. I would doubt it. That's for sure.
That'd be fun to think about, though. Like, what would have happened if
right? Like,
actually right.
Like, I mean, the whole thing is that it didn't matter who. I mean, I guess it did matter. But I mean,
it did matter. That's the whole movie.
Of who was right or not. But I mean, like, there's plausible doubt for both of them, right? Like they were both. I could see both arguments for what was going on. Like, I wonder what would have happened if Hackman was correct.
He would have launched nuclear codes and the world would be destroyed, probably.
Right, that's a quick ending.
It just ends up like Doctor Strangelove. You just see nuclear bombs just go everywhere. It's a fitting ending, but Hackman was wrong.
It makes it a much different movie. If that's the end. Although you could do a fan edit, like you said, with just the end of Doctor Strangelove with the "We'll meet again," with just like the.
Oh, I thought you meant like Hackman on a nuclear missile going through the water.
It's flying through the ocean. He's like, yeah. So, because the Navy didn't like the fact that the storyline was about a mutiny on a nuclear sub, they wouldn't. I think they cooperated with the filming early to sort of let actors like hang out with seamen, and then when they read the full script, they were like, oh no, we're not helping. So Tony Scott and his crew all they like camped out at Pearl Harbor and waited for a nuclear or a submarine to like leave, and they chased it down in like helicopters and boats to get as many angles as they could of the sub like submerging underwater.
It's really
which
funny.
is very funny.
Yeah, that's really funny. You know what? One thing I didn't quite like, and maybe this was a movie of the 1995 era, but the shots with the torpedoes was kind of weird.
Yeah, they looked very I don't know, like
I wouldn't say fake because and I assume it's the water, but it's just weird. And I think there was too much of them. Like it would cut from the submarine back to the torpedo a lot.
It did look it looked fake in the sense that it looked like, oh, they've like made up a pool and they're dragging a fake torpedo across it and they're gonna speed the footage up later. So like it looked like mocked up, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I wrote down the funny line, you don't put on a condom unless you're gonna fuck, which is very funny.
I wrote down it's up to fucking you, but I don't remember what context that's in.
Maybe Weps, because he's when they're taking the boat back and they're like, no, we need like Vigo or it won't work. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, maybe. For some reason now I'm thinking it's some sort of confrontation, or maybe it was when Denzel was talking to the guy trying to get the
radio working.
Radio guy.
Yeah, that could be it.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like the scene when Hackman tries to get rid of Denzel and then Denzel relieves him of his duty, because it's just Gene Hackman and Denzel acting really hard at each other, like just full on like two great actors just yelling at each other, which is always good.
And it's great, yeah. They do a good job.
Have you guys?
I was just gonna say, was this movie in your supercut of Gene Hackman yelling at things?
Yeah, I included the part where he's like, oh, Mr. Hunter, I did this, whatever, I gave that order. Now shut the fuck up! Like, it's so good. Like, the first time he's been a dick prior to that, but that's the first time he kind of, like, loses his cool and is like, no, like, shut up, I'm the captain. I was going to ask, have either of you seen the movie Greyhound with Tom Hanks that came out last year?
I have not.
No.
It's good. It's very much a dad film, because it's almost entirely like not like naval battles pretty much, and just a lot of inscrutable Navy dialogue, and the effects are okay sometimes, but sometimes you could tell like, oh, this was definitely like a middle budget movie, but I found it like weirdly engaging and enjoyable. And I think Tom Hanks, did he direct it? I know he adapted it from a book, but can't remember. No, he didn't direct it, but he wrote the screenplay, and he's really good at it. I liked it. It was a nice little surprise, because I hadn't heard about it until like the week it came out, and then I was like, "No, I'll watch it."
Is he? Is Tom Hanks? Is he nominated for his other movie too?
News of the World got nominated, but I don't think he specifically was nominated. News of the World got nominated for Best Cinematography, actually. Yeah, and that's pretty solid too. It's a little long, but.
So how's the sound in Greyhound?
Good. Yeah, battle scenes all sound great.
Is it the best?
No. Also, Chet Hanks has a small role in it.
Chet
and I
Hanks?
can't remember Chet Hanks. You don't know his son? Chet Hayes, I think, is his rap name.
Oh,
you know,
no.
You know Chet Hanks, white boy summer Chet Hanks.
There's another Hanks besides Colin?
Yes. Oh my God, Tim, you gotta look up.
Oh, Chet.
I'm so excited. Afterwards, maybe after this, we'll record you listening to Chet Hanks for the first time and include it, because it's fucking wild, man.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm out of Crimson Tide notes.
Me too.
You shot?
Oh, yep. Yeah.
All right. Do we want to say, would we film run Crimson Tide now?
Yeah, let's do it now. Yes, I would. I think it's great, classic movie, easy to watch, looks great. I mean, a lot of great actors in it. I mean, there's nothing not to like about it. It's just very good.
Yeah, I agree. Film run, like you said, great acting. It's stressful. has some really intense scenes, and I really like the lighting again. Film run.
Film run. It's a solid movie. It's so good. It gives you like claustrophobia. And shout out to James Gandolfini for being like the right hand man and a really strong presence, even though like he's like barely there.
Yeah, he's really good at it, and it's a pretty kind of one-dimensional role because he's really just like the prick, you know. but he makes it his own for sure. Which movie next?
Let's go with Inch's movie because she's told me she has opinions on my movie, so maybe we'll go with her movie first.
Okay, what movie did you choose?
I picked Jennifer's Body.
You and me are going out tonight. Wear something cute, okay?
You always do what Jennifer tells you to do.
It's just that I like the same things that she likes.
Hey, Jennifer. You look really pretty.
Why don't you just come by my place? Well, this is random.
This isn't really your house, is it?
We can play mommy and daddy.
No way.
We always share your bed when we have slumber parties. Jennifer's evil.
I know.
No, I mean, she's actually evil. Not high school evil. Chip is looking really cute to me lately. How is he tasting these days? You are never a good friend. You could have anybody that you want. Why Chip? You're killing people. No, I'm killing boys. Are you scared? Thought you only murdered boys. I go both ways. I will finish you if I have to. Okay. You can barely finish gym class.
Kind of going to the Oscar movie that got nominated for like almost basically everything, especially like best director, best actress, original screenplay, something else, and something else. Promising Young Woman. But I picked Jennifer's Body, which is directed by Karen Kusama and written by Diablo Cody and starring Megan Fox, Amanda Seyfried, Adam Brody, Johnny Simmons, and all these other people. And I know Michael's probably seen it before, but I don't know if Tim has.
I have seen this before.
Oh, yay! So, what did you guys think? Fight amongst yourselves who goes first.
I'll go. I can go first. Yeah, this was the one I hadn't seen in the longest amount of time. I think probably like a couple of times after it first came out, and then not again. So, 10 years at least, I think, since I'd seen it. And rewatching it, I very much enjoyed it as I did when it first came out. The actors are really good. The story's fun and clever. It's not perfect, but it's I think it's underrated for sure.
Tim?
Yeah, I really like this movie. If there was a horror movie that they could have made that was my style, it's this style where it's funny, it's not scary in any ways, it's more just gory at different points. Yeah, that's about it. I think it's great.
It has, I noticed the parallels a lot more now with Heathers. Like, it has the same kind of tone, where especially J.K. Simmons was having a lot of fun in his little role. Like, he was fucking just having a gas the entire time.
I love his hair, which I don't know why does J.K. Simmons have hair like that, and because I'm so used to him being bald nowadays. And two, whatever happened to his hand? Did they ever explain that?
I don't think they
never explained it.
No. No. And then he's got that like Wisconsin accent or whatever. And when the football guy's getting eaten by Jennifer in the forest, and J.K. Simmons is going in his car, and he's like, "Oh, poor guy, you let it out. You let your feelings out."
Do you miss Craig?
Of
course.
Well, you're gonna see your buddy really soon.
What, you mean like in heaven someday?
No.
God.
Let it all out, kids.
So funny. Yeah, what's the intro? What's the quick little synopsis? Did you say it?
Oh no. So Jennifer Check is the most popular, or one of the most popular girls at school, I think. Never really understand. Anyway.
Yeah,
but...
it's a weird. Yeah, it's probably a more realistic version of popularity in school.
Yeah.
Like she seems popular, but not like one of the cool kids. You know what I mean?
Like it's like she's not popular, but she's just hot as fuck. So that kind of just whammies out the popular, I think. It's just like you could be hot or you could be popular. But she's one of the hot, popular girls in school, and she has a best friend named Needy, who is amazing. And then after they go to like this rock show, Jennifer goes with the bandmates and gets sacrificed to the devil, demonic spirit, who really knows. But she comes out and she's possessed by a demon, and she likes to eat boys, and Needy needs to find out a way to not have her eat any more boys and manipulate the town. And yeah, case closed. I love this fucking movie so much. It's so dumb.
I don't know why so many people hate this movie. Like it like if you look at the ratings online, like it's got like 36%, 50% here. Like I think this movie is just great. It's so funny. It's so ridiculous. It's I don't know. Like I said, it's gory in the right ways.
It's a little bit to have to do with like, it sucks. It's a little bit to have to do with like Juno, I think, coming before this, and then the marketing for this was absolute dog shit, and then also fanboys thought they were going to see at least a naked Megan Fox somewhere, so they thumbs down it immediately, and we're just like, it has no Megan Fox tits. Why am I going?
Is it because it's called Jennifer's Body? They expected
to see a body. Yes.
I think a lot of it, and what you said is misogyny too, but I think it just boils down to plain and simple misogyny. People found Diablo Cody annoying because of Juno, and like she's stylized for sure. Mm-hmm. And it is, I mean, the first like 3 or 4 minutes of Juno is annoying. Like the scene with Rainn Wilson is bad.
Yes.
But the rest of it's great. I love that movie.
I like the scene. You don't like the scene with Rainn Wilson at the beginning?
I hate the fucking like.
It has it has too much lingo.
You're knocked up, home skillet. Yeah, like too much like dumb stuff in a row. You know, the rest of it's good. The rest is like pitched fine.
And
see, I like that, and I like Diablo Cody's writing in this too, where they just seem to have weird.
In this, it's completely different, because it's not completely different. Like it still has that same like, quote unquote, like teenage lingo or indie kid lingo that like you would expect, but like it's kind of spread out during this entire thing. You get like the first 5 minutes of Juno is all of that just in one, and then you're kind of looking at the movie like, why am I like, I don't want to hear these people talk anymore. With this,
yeah,
like,
it's a really bad.
Rather.
It's a really bad balance right at the beginning on Juno, where I get why it would turn somebody off easily. Like the shit dialogue between Juno and Rainn Wilson in that scene, and then she's walking around with like a big thing of Sunny D, and then you see how Michael Cera's dressed, and you're like, what the fuck is this quirky ass shit? But then it smooths out, and it's a good movie.
No,
and, like,
I disagree. I love the quirky ass shit, and I think it's great.
I love the quirky shit later. I hate it at the beginning. The beginning of the movie's terrible. The first 5 minutes, literally just the first 5 minutes.
No, I like that part.
But anyway, so this movie, like I was saying, part of that is just misogyny about Diablo Cody, because it's like, how dare you write quirky dialogue? We save that for the Wes Andersons or the previously mentioned Tarantinos of the world, not for Diablo Cody.
God.
And also, partially, because Megan Fox was mostly known as like the hot girl from Transformers. So it was misogyny about being like, what? She's gonna like be the lead in a horror movie? She can't even act, and she can. She's fucking great.
No, she's great in this movie.
Seafrieder's so great.
She's so good in this movie. Like her reactions to shit and like her, I don't know, her facial expressions and her mannerisms and her character. I think she's awesome in this.
Yeah, she's very funny. She's very creepy when she has to be. And the scene where it actually flashes back to the ceremony that the band was going to do to her, she's like legitimately gives a great performance of somebody absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
Like, I felt so bad for her in that scene. And all because of Megan Fox's performance.
She's really dropped off in, I mean, she did the Ninja Turtle movies, but
I mean, she's because she wanted to be a mom for a while. Like, she just wanted to parent her kids. And then she got a divorce from Brian Austin Green, and now she's dating Machine Gun Kelly. She's doing fine.
Oh, well.
Yeah, plus she's got that Transformers money. So
Yeah.
she's doing all right.
Well, if it's
And
for
Michael
under
Bay,
her
and
own...
Michael Bay said sorry, I think, at one point. Maybe. I think Megan Fox had to say sorry to him.
Yeah, it was
Michael
something
Bay.
they made up. I think her big thing, I don't think it was necessarily a problem with Michael Bay.
I heard that.
Other than, well, yeah, because she said afterwards that Michael Bay runs his movies like he's Hitler or something, which I think was just her bitching about the director. I don't think it offended Michael Bay, but Spielberg was the producer, and he doesn't really like joking around about Hitler anymore since the aforementioned Schindler's List.
Oh, that's not
So
funny.
I think it was kind of Spielberg's call, and I think Michael Bay and Megan Fox are fine because
Good, they did the
he
Ninja Turtle movies, right?
yeah he produced the Ninja Turtles. So
It's just sliding in those Ninja Turtle movies anywhere you can get it, huh?
we got it, Tim. We'll talk about the Ninja Turtles movie. But there's also a weird thing where. Do you ever know? So in the first Transformers movie, we're getting way off track, but Megan Fox is almost Michael Bay's insert character in the movie, because her name is Michaela Barnes, which is very close to Michael Bay.
MB.
What? Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't like a previous character in the franchise or anything. So it's like it's very weird that he like made the female lead have a name extremely similar to his and then spends a lot of time ogling her. Like, it's almost like he's, I don't know, it's weird. He's a weird guy. He's a very weird guy.
I think he does a disservice for her in those Transformers movies too. Like, she's much better in this. And,
yeah, I think she just doesn't have much to do in those. Like,
Yeah,
she's fine in those. It's just not, it's not a very good role, you know?
That's what I mean. Like, it's
Yeah,
a disservice to her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, she was in a movie last year that I didn't see, but I think it was called Rogue or something.
Oh, was that like
where-
the Black Hawk kind of looking movie? Like an
Kind-
army
where-
movie?
Yeah, but I think it was more like genre-y than that, where it's like she's part of a like a Black Ops team or something, which is crazy. I want to see it just to see if she can pull that off. But then I think it ends with her getting like hunted by a lion in the in the desert or something. Like, I think there's a twist where it's like it's her against an animal.
Cool.
But I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Don't quote me on everything. But I think that's how it goes. But yeah, I mean, she fucking rules in this, and you know, holds the whole thing together, because she very easily could have been an annoying main character, but I think she balances really well with Amanda Seyfried, where it's like they feed well off of each other and keep it from being too like, oh, Needy's such a bummer and Jennifer's like too much. They kind of, it's a good yin and yang.
Odd relationship like that. They wouldn't.
It's
I don't know
toxic.
if that. Yeah.
It's just,
I don't know.
it's a
I don't know if
playoff
that. Well, and then I don't even know if that that relationship would exist in the real world.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean?
It does.
Like a super. Like Megan Fox, the super popular one, hanging out with the nerdy chick.
Well, I mean, mean
and-
girls do that all the time. They hang out with somebody who they can push around really easily, right?
But it didn't seem like they were really. I don't know. It didn't seem like she was really pushing her around or making her do shit she didn't want to do. It seemed like an actual friendship.
She kind of was, because Needy didn't want to go to the concert, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, but
or
that's-
the performance.
I don't know. I would bother you to go to see a I go see podcast shows with you all the time.
Yeah, but if you didn't want to, it would be very toxic of me to like force you into it.
Yeah.
I think it's just we get a rough sketch of that, like because they get pretty quickly to Jennifer turning into a creature.
Yeah.
So we don't see the full. But I mean, I think the broad strokes are there. I've seen relationships like that, especially ones where it's like if they were friends as kids and then they grow up and it's almost like, oh, we're friends, but like very different. But they still kind of stick with each other a bit.
It's a weird power dynamic too, and especially like not going into like gender, because like gender is just a whole nother thing. But like specifically in like female friendships, it gets to a point where like one person is on top, the other person is on the bottom, and then you're kind of like trying to figure out. The person on the bottom trying to figure out where they fit into the person on the top's life, and then there's this weird, like, and it shows it in the movie in a whole bunch of ways, but like there's this weird intimacy with female friendships that go a little bit beyond what we all see. Like Needy kind of being called like lesbi gay because she's so enamored with like Jennifer, and then Jennifer making out with her because like she knows that Needy is like something. But
yeah, like Needy, I mean, it's made pretty clear at the end that Needy is like in love with Jennifer, or was in love with Jennifer, basically.
Yeah.
Like whether she really knew it or not, like she was, for sure.
It's a weird power dynamic in like female friendships.
Now, just to clarify
what
you were saying earlier, which one's the top and which is the bottom? Again.
Ooh.
No, I'm just kidding. You don't actually have to think it. Jennifer's a power bottom. She's a power bottom. I thought the supporting cast is so good. Like, Adam Brody is so perfect as that douchebag, the band douchebag.
Yeah, he's so great.
I love him in this, and the first time I saw it, I was just like, I didn't expect you to pull this off, but you're doing an amazing job, my guy. Even Johnny Simmons, too. I was just like, you don't look the part, but good job.
He was really good at playing the exact kind of boyfriend you'd think someone like Needy would have.
Yeah.
Like, pretty non-threatening and docile or whatever. And, was anyone else fucking shocked when Chris Pratt showed up for one scene?
Right? I forgot he was in this thing.
I did too.
I had no idea. I totally forgot. And then I was like, what the fuck? And then he's never seen it again.
Yeah. He dies in the fire, like,
he dies
instantly.
in the fire, yeah.
Right, yeah.
He was the one guy that the other guy in the football team was crying over in the woods.
Kyle Gallner was really good, too. I thought he was great.
Which one was he?
He was like the goth guy. Or the emo guy.
Which one was he?
I thought he was really good.
You know
I
what?
felt bad when he died.
When he died?
Yeah.
You know what? You know who's really good? His mom. At the funeral?
Yeah. That that hard emotional grief. Yikes, dude.
Yeah, they do a good job of, even though it has a pretty a silly tone, like when it switches to actually sad shit, like the ritual scene or that scene, or when Chip dies at the end, like they do a good job of making that still feel real. And same with like any of the creepy scenes, like when Jennifer shows up at Needy's house and just pukes all over the floor. Like, it's actually scary. Like, it's spooky.
Looked like a real pain to clean up too.
I know, I felt so bad.
She was crying, so
I felt so bad for her.
You gotta think though, like she thought like her friend is like dead.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. I forgot the rock band was called Low Shoulder. Fuck off.
And then what was that at the end when she's driving off to like the sunset and sees this Low Shoulder sign?
Yeah.
On the road. Like I don't get. Was that supposed to like symbolize anything or just be a funny punny joke at the end?
It was just, I think it was a funny joke about how dumb the name is.
All right.
Like, that clearly the band just saw a Low Shoulder sign on the road and was like, oh yeah, we should totally be Low Shoulder, right?
Yeah, all right.
And it's that dumb song reoccurring throughout and getting like more airplay and becoming more popular, and being like, oh, their deal with the devil actually worked, and them being so fucking annoyed every time they hear it. And so at the end, I like that Lance Henriksen has a little cameo as the one who picks her up.
What was that sound?
He gave me the creeps. I was just like, I forgot that he was in it, so I was just like, yay! Why are you giving her that look? Please stop.
Oh, I didn't find him that creepy.
Yeah,
other than just Lance Henriksen's normal vibes.
It was really creepy. He like licked his lip and he like looked at her like up and down, and I'm just like, don't do that.
Oh god.
Don't do that.
I didn't notice that at all.
I did.
But for all we know, she didn't kill him because she managed to get to that hotel to kill Low Shoulder. So I guess she could have killed him and taken the car.
Yeah.
I wrote down 2 lines. One of them is when Amanda Seyfried wanted Northward nachos with extra badger sauce. I like that they had some lore in there. And how Megan Fox had to sit on a bag of peas for a week after her run-in with Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I love her line delivery, Megan Fox's line delivery of "It smells like Thai food in here. Have you guys been fucking?"
I wrote down, I don't remember what this was. Incha, is PMS real?
What? Yeah.
Was there a scene about them saying PMS wasn't real?
Yeah, PMS isn't real, Needy. It was invented by the boy-run media to make us seem crazy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when she looks like shit, right? Or Megan Fox's version of that.
The soundtrack was such a throwback to that time because it had like Florence and the Machine, Motion City soundtrack, Silver Sun Pickups, White Lies, Dashboard Confessional. Like it was just such. I was like, oh shit! Like I know all of these songs, and I totally forgotten about a bunch of them. Who yells, "Camille, sit like a lady. No one wants to see your Kiki."
That's Amanda Seyfried's boyfriend's mom, because Kiki is his little sister.
I also wrote down, someone said Tower 1 isn't full enough, and I don't know what that means. It would have been like near the beginning, because I wrote it down right before, or right after Chris Pratt shows up. I wrote that down, so I don't know what that means.
When Jennifer brings over the shots. And like she has those 2 towers of shots. And then she's just Tower 1 isn't full enough, huh?
Yeah, that's so dumb.
Right.
That's so fucked up. Yeah, a lot of good dialogue.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Very funny stuff.
So my question, have either of you seen Promising Young Women yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't.
You don't have to.
Is it not good?
Interesting.
I didn't really like it. I think that's why I was just like, I kind of want to pick something that like embodies somebody taking over your body without what's like somebody taking over your body for a nefarious purpose. But I went back and watched it when I had the time to, because like yesterday, and I was like, I don't care for this movie, but I love Jennifer's body.
I do think Promising Young Woman would have been better if it was what people sort of thought it was before it came out.
Yeah.
Like if it was kind of a trashy, like straight up rape revenge story.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't, like, it seems like, and you're supposed to think that it's as she's hurting these guys or she's going to kill the guys, but she doesn't. She just lectures them a little bit and then leaves.
Like even the ending of Promising Young Women, I was very disappointed with that.
Yeah, I read some very good takedowns of the actual, like the ending of it and how weird it is and kind of backtracks everything the movie had mentioned before about how the authorities deal with rape, you know?
So you don't think it's going to win Best Picture then?
It might. Like, that has the quality has nothing to do. Green Book won, man.
What a dark day.
So no, yes. Do you think it's going to win?
No. What is it up against? Hold on.
For what? Because it's up for Best Picture.
Yeah. So it's up against The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, No Man's Land, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7.
If they're smart, they pick Minari.
Yeah, Minari rules.
Like Minari's so good, and Judas and the Black Messiah is great, but I think maybe not. But Minari is just perfect, start to finish. Just give it to them.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
Get on it, Tim.
Yeah, it's a weird year. I haven't seen as many as I normally would have. I've seen all of the Best Picture nominees, but some of the other categories of, like, you know, I haven't seen... No, I've seen that. I haven't seen, like, Pieces of a Woman or The United States versus Billie Holiday. I'm not watching Hillbilly Elegy, so fuck that. I'm never watching that dumbass movie.
What movie is that?
It's about, like, it's based on a book by this dumbass named J.D. Vance, who's like a total conservative shithead, and it's about how, like, oh, everyone I knew when growing up in, like, the Appalachians or wherever the fuck it was, any of them that were drug addicts or weren't doing well financially, it was all because it was their fault. It's like literally a book about picking yourself up by your bootstraps. So dumb. But the movie looks dog shit too, like a total parody of that kind of film. But Glenn Close is nominated for it. I like her.
We try and not be too political on this show, Michael. So there's two sides to every story.
You saying there are good people on both sides?
On both sides.
It would be very funny to just start bringing up a bunch of controversial issues and making you say your opinion on them, Tim.
Not happening. Any more notes for
No,
Jennifer's
just to
Body?
make it clear. Just to make it clear, not because you have bad opinions on them, but just you would be so uncomfortable having to talk about it.
That's right.
Not that, like, just don't ask him about Black Lives Matter when he's around.
Any more notes on Jennifer's Body?
No, sir.
I like the uncomfortableness of it all.
Yeah, that's why it would be fun, right?
Incha?
Nope.
All right, I'll give this a film run. I think it's a great movie. Like I said, I don't know why it has so much bad ratings. There should be.
We just told you.
I know, but
yeah, we talked about
we
it.
We spent like
So
10
you
minutes
shouldn't.
telling you before.
Yeah.
I know, but we should like start an online campaign to upvote.
Do what?
It's got a cult following like
Yeah.
the Me Too stuff, so it's fine, Tim.
You too? Like Bono likes it?
I've really been enjoying Jennifer's Body recently. No, that's a Beatle. That's not a Bono. Hey, John. I'm John Lennon. Go watch Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, go like Jennifer's Body and write a good review for it. Why not? When do you guys want to go next?
Yeah, I'll film run it. It's like we said earlier, very underrated. I'm glad that a lot more people are appreciating it, and it's it should be considered a classic. So I hope someday it is.
I'm film running it. I picked it, so I'm film running it. It's a great movie. If you just want to just sit down for like some mindless fun for like 2 hours, Jennifer's Body is where it's at. Megan Fox is amazing. The rest of the cast is awesome, and the director also made the best horror film that's not really a horror film called The Invitation, which everybody should just watch because she rules.
Yeah, we film ran that, right?
Did we?
I think we did.
Which movie?
The Invitation.
The Invitation.
Should make Tim watch that.
I think we did. If we did, I'll find the number and I'll put in the episode number right now.
5-1.
I can just use my real voice.
Oh, that's true.
Typey. Episode 17, The Invitation.
Oh, we did it that. I want to refilm run that.
Well, you can because Tim hasn't seen it.
Yeah, that's a good ass movie.
Yeah, Karen Kusama, she's a great director. If you ignore Ion Flux, but not a huge filmography, but she's done a lot of TV direct, which is a very sad. That speaking of misogyny, like it's so sad. Amazing, like female film directors. A lot of the time, they just, especially if they have kind of a bomb or a movie that doesn't do crazy good, then they're sort of forced to like be relegated to directing television, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But like she did Girl Fight, which she wrote and directed. Jennifer's Body, The Invitation, and Destroyer in 2018 with Nicole Kidman. All really good. And then she also did Aeon Flux. So,
I've watched Aeon Flux, but I don't remember if it was bad.
It was bad.
Oh,
It's-
all right then.
It's, you know the movie Ultraviolet?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're roughly both as bad as each other. Very similar films.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of sci-fi, our next and final Oscar special film. Speaking of, you guys are wearing tuxedos, right?
My tuxedo shirt, yeah.
Nice. I'm wearing a full ball gown.
Ooh, who are you wearing tonight?
Full ball gown.
Hold on, let me check. Spirits Halloween. Whatever that is.
So the movie I picked was similar to the Oscar-nominated film Tenet, which is being nominated for Best Production Design and Best Visual Effects. I picked 2012's Looper.
Time travel has not yet been invented, but 30 years from now, it will have been. I am one of many specialized assassins in our present called loopers. So when criminal organizations in the future need someone gone, they zap him back to me, and I eliminate the target from the future.
Oh la la.
Loopers are well paid. We live the good life. And the only rule is never let your target escape. Even if your target is you.
I'm gonna fix this! I'm gonna find him! I'm gonna kill him!
This time travel crap just fries your brain like an egg.
Starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis. And it's about in our future, time travel hasn't been invented yet, but 30 years from that, it has been. And it is very difficult to dispose of bodies. So in the past, they hired loopers, who are assassins who kill people when they loop, when people who time travel come to their time, and eventually. The people in the future want to cancel the contract, so they close the loop by sending that person's future self for them to be killed. And in this case, Joe's future self runs away, and he has to find him and close his loop. So, Michael, you had seen this, and Incha, you had not, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
That is correct.
Michael, let's hear yours, and then I'm very excited to hear Inch's opinions on Looper. Michael.
It's a classic 3 for 3 when it comes to these films, because I really love Looper. I think it got good reviews when it came out, and then it's kind of settled into, like, the other people had, like, more criticism of it, especially because, and we'll talk about it more, but, like, it's kind of, the movie feels like it's cut in two in a bit, so I think some people didn't like the back half as much, but I like it all. I think it all works. I think it's one of the few, I say recent, but this movie came out 8 years ago, but recent-ish movies where Bruce Willis was actually trying, like actually doing good work. And I think it came out in the same year as Moonrise Kingdom, which was another movie I thought he was actually like doing good acting in.
Yeah.
And then he converted back to, you know, just standing around bored the entire time while people film him. So yeah, and I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's great, Emily Blunt's great, Jeff Daniels, all the side characters are fun, the world's very fun, Some great scenes. Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah, you're right. There is like it's a movie of it's two halves kind of thing, right? Like I do agree with that, and I can see how people would not like the back half as much. But
yeah, like I get the criticism. I just don't agree. Like I like both parts just as much.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. Like the back half, like the first half is like sci-fi and they're building this world around it, and then they kind of just revert to a farmhouse for the rest of the movie. So
So it's like tonally, it's you can I see why someone could bounce off of it and be like, oh.
What happened to my sci-fi?
Yeah, like I wish it was, somebody got farmhouse in my sci-fi. Somebody got sci-fi in my farmhouse.
All right, Incha, what did you think of Looper?
So at first, like literally past the credits, I was just like, "Oh, I'm not gonna know. I don't know how I feel about this." But then, it's
a good impression of what you sound like too. Good impression of your own voice.
But then, I was like, "Yes!" And then I was in. I was so in. I was just more in. I have more notes for this than anything because I'm just like, this world building, give me more of this because it's so cool. Everybody's amazing in it. Bruce Willis really does try. I want him to try harder. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
it's not one of his greatest performances ever, but it's surprising in the 2010s to see him trying at least this much.
And honestly, Joseph Gordon-Levitt makes up for like all of him, honestly, and it's
he's great in it.
It's so good. Like I kind of wish this. Here's the thing: I kind of wish this was a video game so that I can play it.
That'd be cool.
That's it. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Like it is very video game-ish in some spots. I can see where that is.
Yeah, because like some of the concepts, like the closing of the loop got me because I was just like, that is so fucking cool, and I'm like, I hate that that's so cool because it's just like the mob just sends you back for you to get killed. Yes, what? I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I like this movie. I really do. It's
so like and so cruel that you have to kill yourself. Like they couldn't give it to a different looper, right? Like
and then you immediately have a 30-year clock on your life. You're like, well.
I also really weirdly like that too. Like I like that they have, because after they know that their loop is closed, they live their like lives like it's their last, and I'm just like, that's really interesting to go by, especially when you know that you die at a certain point when you look like this. Like it's a cool
concept, and it's just enough time where it's like you would get why, because like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Joe, his character in the movie Joe, wasn't he like basically a street rat and then became that? So you get why this would be appealing to somebody who's totally willing to kill somebody, where you'd be like, you know, I could die on the street, or I could make good money doing this, and it's pretty risk-free, and then so what? I close my loop, and then I got 30 years to live with all the money I made. Like, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, he
even though
says,
it's a very ghoulish concept for sure.
And he does say that being a looper does not attract forward-thinking people.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it is kind of weird, like how he spent his entire looper days saving up those silver bars, and he spends it within what, like 10 years after.
10 years or so, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it's just, well, it didn't help that, like, you know, he had a drug problem too, so he probably.
But he had the drug problem while he was saving his money too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he also had money coming in while that was.
He had a full-time job while he was.
Like he didn't have a job afterwards. He had to get another job being a hitman afterwards. But I thought it was funny that it's like, oh, I bet like most of these loopers do that. They think they're like, oh, I'm set for life, like I got all this cash, and then they run through it pretty fucking quick because they're living it up, because they're like, oh, I only got 30 years left, I better get to having fun. And then,
well, hold on though, you know, but that's the thing, is that they know that they're gonna live at least X amount of time after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they could live, you're right, yeah, they could live it up, but they don't know. So they know that their life is gonna end eventually, but they know they at least live until the future, until time travel is invented, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like Joe seemed like the smartest financial planner, and he runs out of money in 10 years. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they all blow through it like immediately, like, I'm the king of the world, buy a yacht.
You're right.
Then
you're right.
like 2 years later, you're like,
So
better become a hitman in Shanghai or wherever.
So, Incha, you said you didn't like it for the first part. Where did it hook you in?
I think seeing Joe with, this is gonna sound really morbid, seeing Joe with the looper gun and him immediately killing somebody, I was just like, ooh,
Yeah.
what's happening? What's that? I don't know.
So that's immediately.
It's immediately, because like I was just like, I don't know, because here's the thing, I backtrack on Ryan Johnson a little bit, and I knew that, like, I'm like, you know what? I did like Knives Out. I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be fun. And then immediately, 100%, I was just in, and I never got off. I do have a question about why it was bad that he was stashing half of his silver, because when he got the job, he deposited whatever he needed to in that thing. So why was it a big deal?
Well, I think Jeff Daniels says, doesn't he say like that in and of itself isn't really that bad, but we are gonna have to like take half of it for whatever. Like, doesn't he clarify that it's
he says that, but I'm just like, so, like, why did he make it seem like it was also a big deal in that sentence where he was just like, oh, that's not bad, but, you know, like...
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just visually for us to see, like, how much he'd have to give up if he didn't give up Paul Dano. So it all needed to be, like, stashed somewhere, some one location.
Oh my god, also Paul Dano, holy shit. I love him so much.
I mean, that scene is fucking horrible. That scene...
Honestly, though, I haven't seen this movie since it came out, and for some reason, I thought Paul Dano was the one that, like, got his things lift off, not, like, his future self.
How would that work?
Well, that's what...
I mean, he does. He is the one who gets his stuff.
Yeah, no, but for some reason, I thought they went further back in the past to kill him in the past.
Yeah, like a baby Paul Dano, and they cut off his hands and his nose.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what I was thinking, but of course, yeah, it didn't make sense. Now, when it was happening, it's like, yeah, of course, this makes much more sense than my stupid idea.
I love that scene. I love it's like limb for limb. You see the transition of him like losing a foot, not being able to drive, and then losing arms and facial feet. I'm like, that's insane. Without actually seeing the torture, that's cruel.
Yeah. Oh, it's
horrifying.
it's the horrifying, and like just the scene at the end where you see him like hooked up to things so that they could cut off his limbs while keeping him alive is just like he's gonna have a.
But the crazy thing is, and I know they make a point, and I do like it how they make a point of when Joe confronts old Joe, and they're talking about time travel and stuff, and he's like, you could talk about this shit like in circles all day, and you just don't think about it or whatever.
So do you know what's gonna happen? You done all this already? As me?
I don't want to talk about time travel shit. Because if we start talking about it, then we're going to be here all day talking about it, making diagrams with straws. It doesn't matter.
When I hurt myself, it changes your body. So is what I do now change your memory?
It doesn't matter!
But I'm going to. And so did they keep Paul Dano all cut apart, like alive for 30 years and then send him back?
Did they keep...
Oh god, no!
Right?
No, I think they.
Then how would that work?
I think because Paul Dano changed.
Oh yeah.
Then how did the old guy have all those injuries if they didn't keep Paul Dano alive with those injuries to become the old guy with the injuries?
So yeah, I guess so. Them keeping Paul Dano alive on that thing would cause him to come back in time, but when he came back in time, he wouldn't have all those things. So how would he have?
Yeah,
like its current time would change as well.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of, it feels, I'm probably wrong, but it's like one of those Doctor Who time warp things where you can hit, like Paul Dano in his regular time when he was a looper, he still was in that time, so the regular Paul Dano, or the older Paul Dano, he got to live his life alongside of that Paul Dano, but when Paul Dano made a mistake, that kind of doubled him back a little bit, I think, if that makes any sense. It's like that one thing it's like stepping on a butterfly and then changing the world around, like something like that. I don't know how that's brought up. It's weird.
Yeah, it's too much to think about.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, most time travel stories just generally don't really make much sense, especially ones where you're able to affect change on things. But I do like. I mean, I think we get it because when Joe starts making new memories, like when he starts doing stuff that old Joe didn't experience, and old Joe starts getting those memories slowly, like I thought that was cool, where it shows, like what you were saying, Inja, how the old ones sort of update as time goes on, regardless of what happens. Like, old Joe went through what he went through, but it doesn't mean he will have went through what Joe did necessarily. I don't know what I'm talking about.
On the world building that we were talking about earlier, I think it's really cool that he does this kind of twice. One with like the whole TK thing that's all built up at the beginning and then never talked about again until the end, which I thought was a cool like tease at the beginning. But also the motorcycle, like you see Paul Dano fixing it, and then like you see it in like already there at the diner. So he's like, oh, when am I going to see this stupid bike work? When am I going to see this stupid hoverbike? And then you eventually do see it. I wrote that down.
Speaking of vehicles, I like that a lot of the vehicles were just old cars that were retrofitted with solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch because, like, yeah, that makes more sense.
And what was her truck on the farm was hooked up with something too. I didn't see any solar panels on it, but it was all like wired up with something too.
Yeah, well, I think all the cars you see, except for, I don't think Joe's had it, but like they had tubes going into the gas tank leading to like solar panels.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I just missed the solar panel.
I don't know. I thought Jeff Daniels was great in the movie.
He's so good. Just
he's very
calm, cool, collected, and then smashes your hand with a hammer. I'm like, good.
Like, he looks so much like a slop bag. Like, he's so sloppy, and like he looks more like a hungover landlord than
yeah. Like, he's just over it, and it's such a shitty job for him too, because he was just sent back in time to stay there and like organize shit. But it was so wild, like seeing him in this so shortly after watching him in Something Wild and being like, whoa, you got old, man.
But these mob guys, they have a ton of resources. Like, how did they get helicopters?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Right?
I also really like how crime is just outright okay. Like, you just carry a shotgun and then you can blast somebody for just stealing something. I'm like, yeah, why not, guy? Why not?
Sure.
Also, I hated Susie a lot.
Oh, Piper Perabo?
Yeah, I hated Susie
yeah.
so much. Not that I hated her, it's just that I think I was just annoyed with young Joe being like, oh, take half my bars and leave. It's just like, she don't care about you, dude. She is literally the Celine in this story. You're not gonna get anywhere with her. She's comfortable where she is. And when she says it, I'm like, can you move on now?
Yeah, it's always really sad or pathetic in a story when it has the character trying to like rescue the sex worker who clearly isn't about that. Like, it's like, no, I'm fine, because it reminds me of in the first Locke episode of Lost when he's talking to the phone sex worker and
right.
Invites her to go to Australia with him, and she's like, oh no, I can't do it. Come on, John, I can't do that. And then she's like, if we talk any longer, you're gonna have to pay for another hour, so why don't we just go? It's always just so pathetic, like so cringy to watch, like where everybody in the scenario seems very uncomfortable. I don't like it.
It is neat that Bruce Willis remembers her before he blows his kid's brains out. But like when he shows up at his house, she's like, oh shit. So obviously, he remembered her.
Mm-hmm.
But also, good riddance, kid. Good riddance.
Well, he doesn't kill that kid. He doesn't kill that kid.
Oh yeah,
don't think
he
he kills
kills
another
that
kid?
first kid.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he doesn't kill that kid.
I think
Oh, because he gets the
He kills the
memories
first
back,
kid.
right?
Yeah, and then he sees when Joe seeing Sid freaking out, and he's like, "Oh, Sid's gonna be the Rainmaker." It's crazy when Sid falls down the stairs and then blows Garrett Dillahunt into pieces.
Oh, it's so good.
And they run out of the house, and they run around, and you just see the trashed window with just blood running down the side of the house. It's horrifying. I thought it was a cool touch on that farm too. How Sarah, Emily Blunt's character, locks herself in a big old timey safe when Sid has a freak out. Because I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
That kid sucks.
I was going to say that. Who else hated that kid?
That kid sucks so much. Oh my god. I kind of wanted him to die, but I felt that was probably wrong to think. And then I thought it again, so it was fine. But that kid sucks. Hard.
I liked Sid. I liked him.
No, he sucks.
He sucks.
Yeah, he's a little kid. All little kids are little dicks.
Going back to like the TK thing, I get that was a point for Sid, because that was important, obviously, later on. But I kind of didn't get it.
I think it was just the setup that is possible in this world, and I think they do it in a very funny way by saying like, oh, some people develop telekinesis, but then you can tell it just got annoying and it was mostly party tricks, like you levitating a coin or whatever. It wasn't as cool as like, I'm an X-Men now. It was just boring shit until like Sid comes along.
Yeah, there's not much to it for anybody else. Like even Emily Blunt was much better than Paul Dano. It's like she was making circles with that Zippo.
Oh shit! Yeah, Paul Dano had TK.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, like they kind of tease a couple of these things early. Like even like the metal box at the time didn't really mean anything until you saw the guy blow up.
Yeah, you definitely see her run in and like hide in there before you know like why. Like you could just tell like, oh shit, something goes down, and then you see what it is, and you're like, oh, smart idea with that save for sure.
So the other thing about time travel, though, that we're gonna bring up, which we shouldn't think about. But if Joe killed himself in the middle of the field, then old Joe wouldn't have us to come back to even cause what happened earlier.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's just generally they update in real time. It's not that their life wasn't lived the way they remember it, so much as the changes are made as they happen to the old person. So, like, whatever happened already happened.
But what already happened hasn't happened yet.
No, it did, because it happened to old Joe.
But that hasn't happened yet. It's in the future.
Not to young Joe, but it happened to old Joe.
But old Joe doesn't exist because young Joe killed himself.
Yeah, that's the end of the line for old Joe. But he still lived his entire life. And then
How?
died.
Joe? No. How could he?
Yeah,
Joe died.
Because it's a loop. He still went through the first part of the loop. It's just he didn't keep going after old.
No, you're talking about a
young Joe
line.
killed himself.
You're not talking about a loop. You're talking about a line now. Because you're
No.
saying
This feels
you're
like
saying
the exact same solution that Paul Dano and his old person could have went through. Just saying. Keep going.
It is.
Sorry.
It's the whole thing where like, okay, Joe. So you're saying that there's an entire life where Joe, there's an entire universe where Joe lives his whole life and ends up as old Joe, and then old Joe goes back in time, and then it starts all over again. At the end of that, at the beginning of that line, which then continues on until
it's not a line,
Joe
it's a circle.
kills himself.
It's a loop.
But no, the circle ends.
What do you mean?
The circle ends at young Joe.
Like a clock. The hands on a clock run in a circle, but they don't end. They keep going through.
Right, but this one doesn't. It ends. Joe kills himself. That means both Joes are dead, so it's done.
Yeah, but that's the end of young Joe's loop. But old Joe still went through the first part of the loop where he lived an entire life.
No, but that doesn't. That's not a loop. Then that's not a circle.
How is that not a circle?
Because it ends. So you got.
When everybody's circle ends.
Everybody's circle ends. No, lines end, not circles. Circles go round and round.
No, but you have one point on a circle and you draw it to that point again. You don't keep drawing in a circle, or nobody would ever stop drawing a circle after the first time they drew a circle.
But then what's
You
the difference
stop
between
drawing
a
circle.
what's the difference between a circle and a line then? You still end
There
up
is
at
no real difference.
2 points.
Yeah, but a line doesn't backtrack on itself.
Neither does a circle.
Yes, it does. If you keep going in the loop, it does. Because you go forward more. It's a circle. You can go forward more on a circle.
All right, we like Bruce Willis.
How can you
we
go
should stop
forward
talking
more on a
about
line?
time.
If you have two ends on a line, you can't go back in time. But he does go back in time. Old Joe does go back in time to a time he already existed. So how is that not continuing forward on the circle?
I think that's continuing forward on the first line.
How is it continuing forward on the first line?
Because he went back.
But you can't continue forward with the previous part of the line.
I'm saying that the timeline is continually going forward, but
for old Joe, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, it goes. Yes, exactly. For old Joe.
Yes. Yeah. Time is continuing to go forward, but it's going forward in a circle because he's going through a part he's already been through again.
But he wouldn't have gone through that the first time because.
But he did. He did go through that. He did go through that.
But he wouldn't have gone through it the first time without him being there.
No, not the exact stuff, because old Joe starts changing it, and then young Joe starts changing it.
Right.
But he still went through the part where he showed up and got shot.
But it's a different time. That's why it's a different line.
It is different.
That's why it wouldn't go around in a circle, because you'd overlap itself, because these are two different times now.
But there was overlapping. They both went through the same time.
I mean, there's overlapping in days, but in events there isn't.
There is overlapping in events.
Holy shit.
Inch, what's your opinion?
I have no opinion on this. I don't care. I can't. I'm taking a headache medicine right now. That's how much this hurt.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's facial prosthetic to look more like Bruce Willis?
I totally forgot that we haven't talked about that yet. The worst decision in film history.
Yeah, it did not look great. It looks.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's the worst decision in film history. That's fucking insane. But I do think it was unnecessary. He was doing a perfectly good Bruce Willis impression with just his voice and mannerisms that you didn't need it. Like,
no, I don't even think people can suspend disbelief. Like, I don't even think he looks like a young Bruce Willis with the prosthetics.
No, he doesn't. That's the thing. He doesn't. But I think he does a good enough job with the way he carries himself and the way he talks that I buy it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, but I think
that's fine enough.
I 100% agree, and I would think I would buy it if it was just looked like Joseph Gordon-Levitt without all the stupid eyebrow stuff.
We're all saying the same thing, Tim. I think you're still stuck on the timeline argument.
I hate it
because you're like, yeah, but, and then said the exact same thing I said. That he didn't need it. He did fine without it. It wasn't necessary. But he didn't have to have it. He should have had it.
I wasn't sure if it was him at first. Because he was like, that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but why does he look like that? Who hurt him?
It was a weird choice. Also, regardless, even with that, it doesn't work because it's always very funny when it shows old Joe's timeline and you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt in like a wig with longer hair, and then it cuts to a scene like 5 years later or something, and then it's Bruce Willis with the same wig. It's like, come on.
Like part of the hair was coming out.
Part of it's like gone. Yeah, exactly.
Stupid.
Yeah. It's like, you should have just... We didn't... Yeah, I've seen younger actors play different actors before. You don't need it.
You didn't need it for Paul Dano. Why did you need it for this thing?
That's very true,
exactly. Yeah. I think I think the reasoning is that Bruce Willis has a very distinct look and Joseph Gordon-Levitt doesn't look like that, which I get. But also, we don't care. Like, we don't care. No. See? Nobody cares. Dodgson. Yeah, so I think that's a mistake, but I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's good enough that, I kind of forget about it after a while. Mm-hmm. Or ignore it, I guess, is more likely, because it's always noticeable, but I just kind of ignore it.
Yeah, I think ignoring it is a good adjective.
Mm. No, I was happy to see. Good old Francis Wilcott just popping up.
Yeah, Garrett Dillahunt, he was cool. And then he gets blown to pieces.
That's even cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah. That would be a fun little role.
He's not in for very long, and he's just sweaty, and he's just coming in for some water.
just want some water. Yeah, and he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
I think even Joe says he was a good guy. So then he becomes soup at the end. It was cool when Bruce Willis took out all the criminals, like the Looper guys, with that machine gun and just stormed that place.
I was gonna say though, like the way that it's shot, it seems like a lower budget movie because it's a lot of just Bruce Willis shooting. You don't see a lot of the guys die, and then you don't even see Jeff Daniels die.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this scene where he's like standing there with both guns, like shooting it through a bunch of like dudes where you're supposed to, I think, believe that they're coming, like a wave of dudes coming, and he's just shooting down a hallway. But it's the way that it's shot, it's easy to see that they cheaped out on that part of the budget.
Well, I think they probably saved, because I thought it looked cool with the lights and everything, and the gunshots all looked cool enough, and I got the gist of it that, because the budget was only $30 million.
Yeah.
Which, that's a lot of money, but not for like a sci-fi movie that came out in 2012, right?
Saving money on those barns.
Yeah, well, I think they used the money for like other effects.
Also, Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They had to pay. Although I think you can get him cheap these days because he's in so many shitty straight-to-video like action movies. But yeah, I think they saved it for. Well, I think they used half the budget on getting that prosthetic just right for JGL, and then the rest of the movie. Yeah, it does have a really good cast. Huh? I was surprised when Tracy Toms popped up. I totally forgot she was the waitress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was really sad though, because I was just like, is she gonna have a bigger part? And then she didn't. And then she just went away.
Doesn't. Yeah, just a little. Yeah, it's sad. But it is very. I do like that. That joke about how Joe writes Beatrix on his arm.
There's a lady that works here with a shorter name, dude.
Yeah, when it's like, Jen works every Thursday. It's like, oh yeah.
I wrote down do you know at the beginning where JGL is learning French and he's talking with like the audiobook or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
He's conjugating verbs, like saying like I am, I are, you are, he are, like that sort of thing.
Like the je m'appelle and stuff like that?
Yeah, tu es, elle, elle. And I just remembered, like, we had to do that all the time in French class up here in Canada. It just brought me back to French class, him doing that.
Can you speak fluent French?
No.
Oh. How unfortunate.
I know a little bit. I can get myself around in Montreal, but I wouldn't want to talk to anybody in French.
I like that when he's learning France or whatever, then he's talking to Jeff Daniels later, and Jeff Daniels is like, you should go to China, and he's like, I'm going to France, and he's like, over the future, you should go to China.
And then he just does anyway. Because yeah. I really want to know what happens in France, though.
Yeah, maybe France blows up. It's possible.
Or maybe he knows that he's gonna be just addicted to fucking drugs for 10 years.
Yeah, better eyedropper drugs in Shanghai. I like the moment later, I think it's at the diner, when JGL and Bruce Willis are talking, and I think one of them says, your face looks backwards, and I realized, oh, that's probably because most of the time you see your face, it's in a mirror, right? So if you actually saw your face in front of you, it would catch you off guard, right? Like,
oh, I guess so. Never thought about that.
I'm out of notes.
Have any of you guys seen Tenet?
Yes.
I haven't seen that one either. Any good?
A couple good action scenes, but overall I wasn't a huge fan.
It's too bad.
I watched it for Robert Pattinson. I wasn't disappointed in Robert Pattinson.
He was very good. He's the best part. Yeah.
It's too bad because I remember hearing like a lot of hype because it was like going to be one of the first like movies where people could actually go to a movie theater and watch something when it was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's just because they said they were releasing it. It had nothing to do with whether anything was good to go to the theater. Like, they were just like, no, we are putting it into the theater. And everyone's like, we're not going to go to that. And you know what? They didn't really, for the most part.
That's too bad. I was hoping it would be a much better movie. Like I heard nothing about it until like it was about to be released, and there was a lot of buzz around it, and it's like, oh, okay, this must have been like, people must be hyping to watch this movie if they're. It must
Yeah,
be
I
good.
think they jumped the gun. It was too early. I think Godzilla vs Kong did pretty well in the theaters. I think it made like 50 million over the weekend, which is the most that's been made in the theaters in like a year plus.
Right.
So I think it did well, but eventually, maybe this summer, there's a big movie's gonna come out, and people will be like, movies are bad, because it'll have like a $200 million weekend or whatever the fuck.
Right. So, good visual effects and production design.
In what, Tenet? Yes. You reading some categories there, bud?
That's what it got nominated for. Visual effects and
Yeah.
production design. They're pretty good.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
I would say so. What's it up against? Visual effects. Visual effects is always a fun one because there's always some weird shit in there.
Didn't Star Wars win last year?
Oh, probably.
I don't think it won. I think it was nominated though.
Mulan, The Midnight Sky, Love and Monsters.
Love and Monsters wasn't that bad. It's bad, but it's not like that bad.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was fine. Like, I had a good time. But best makeup and hairstyling. That's the award that Oscar winner Suicide Squad won. Best makeup and hairstyling. Deserved. I think it was deserved. I like the makeup and hairstyling in that movie.
All right, would you guys film run Looper, Michael?
Looper. Yeah, I'd film run it in a loop, just over and over again. Just keep looping it. Yeah, no, I like it. It's good.
I'd film run it, but only in a straight line, multiple times along that line. It's one line though. Film run.
Doesn't make any sense.
You run in a line. You don't run in circles.
You do run in circles. They have tracks. We see them every year at the Olympics.
Incha.
I
Don't run in circles. What are you talking about?
I film run it. I'd film run it in an infinity, but step out of the infinity circles.
Just like a Mobius strip.
Yes.
It just keeps. Yeah.
There you go. There's a classic triple film.
Triple.
Yeah. It helps when we can just pick movies we really like and not ones that are totally new to every. Although, new one for Incha, yeah.
I can't believe she hadn't seen Looper. I'm so pissed.
I'm sorry. Nobody asked me.
I was pretty sure I asked you in the past.
You guys, you
we all
guys
did.
yell at each other, and then I jump in, and then nobody hears me. So I'm just like, well, we'll figure it out later, I guess, when somebody's surprised.
That's not true. That isn't true. I edit the audio. I know exactly.
I'm on the show. I know exactly what happened.
Okay, well, I'll cut that part out of People Under the Stairs, and we'll see what you say. Although no, I don't think we recorded us talking about it.
No, we said
Yeah.
in that episode that we were gonna watch The Grey, and then we decided
Yeah.
after the fact that we should do the Oscar special.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody just picked a movie, and then nobody asked who watched what.
No, we did say we definitely mentioned like, oh, this is one where we've all seen these movies.
And I'm pretty sure that I asked you if you've seen Looper like months ago because I wanted to talk about it, and I thought you've seen it, or maybe I just thought you saw it.
Well, you asked me about.
You could have just made an assumption.
You asked me about
No, I don't
another
think so.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie. You asked me about Don John, and I said no.
You could have picked Don John for this.
I could have picked Don John for this, and then she hadn't.
I hadn't seen
She
it.
hadn't seen Don John.
Yeah, but you still could. Oh yeah, because Don John. There's definitely a lot there to talk about in a full episode.
I can pick that later.
Don John. I don't think JGL did a bad job directing it. I thought it was directed well. I get what he was going for, but it's not a good movie, man.
I remember liking it. I haven't seen it since it came out, but I remember liking it.
Well, pick it next time. We can. Inch will be our tiebreaker. See what she thinks about it.
So of these three movies, rank them.
That's not fair.
Too bad. Ninja.
Why do I have to go first?
Because Michael went first with the film run.
Oh, God, fine. Jennifer's Body. No, fuck. Yeah, Jennifer's Body, Looper, Crimson Tide.
Oof. Michael?
Crimson Tide, Jennifer's Body, Looper.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that rating too. Crimson Tide, Jennifer's Body, Looper.
Yeah, I think they're all at least an 8 out of 10 though. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, now we can't start throwing in numbers now. We do film runner lock, then we rank each choice, and then we give them a number out of 10.
That's right. They're all
3 A
runs.
movies. A movies.
Yeah, they're all great.
Yeah, they're all runs. Any huge predictions you got for the Oscars, or?
So, do we know what they're doing? Like, is there going to be a red carpet, and are people going to be there?
They're doing, yeah, kind of. I think they're doing it from several locations. So, Union Station, I think, is where one of them's being held. Then there's going to be a physical place in Europe for European actors and nominees who rightfully don't want to fly into America. I don't know. It's going to be a weird one. But there's no host. I think they just have presenters, you know?
Right.
So it'll be weird. It'll be a weird one for sure. I'll watch it, but like, yeah, I mean, last year was a write-off as far as my interest in, you know, new movies coming out.
I'm going to go with Trial of the Chicago 7 for Best Picture.
Yeah?
Just throwing it out there. Just throwing a guess.
All right, I'll guess a Best Picture. Man, I think you might be right. But I will go with Nomadland. Incha, you got a guess?
Yeah, it would be No Man Land. Everybody loves it. I don't understand why.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
I haven't seen it yet either, but I like Frances McDormand
I
a
want
lot.
Minari to win.
Yeah, I want Minari to win, but oh well. Can't always get what we want.
He got a South Korean movie last year.
What more do you want? What more do you guys want?
You hit me once, I hit you back. You gave a kick, I gave a slap. You smashed a plate over my head, then I set fire to our bed. You hit me once, I hit you back. You gave a kick, I gave a slap. You smashed a plate over my head, then I set fire to our bed.
It smells like Thai food in here. Have you guys been fucking?
Whoa, a kiss with a fist is better than none. I broke your jaw once before. I spilled your blood upon the floor. You broke my leg in return. So let's sit back and watch the bed burn. Blood sticks, sweat drips. Break the lock if it don't fit. A kick in the teeth is good for some. A kiss with a fist is better than none.
We can play these games all night, Mr. Hunter, but I don't have the luxury of your presumptions.
Sir.
Mr. Hunter, we have rules that are not open to interpretation, personal intuition, gut feelings, hairs on the back of your neck, little devils or angels sitting on your shoulders.
Captain.
We're all very well aware of what our orders are and what those orders mean. They come down from our commander-in-chief. They contain no ambiguity.
Captain.
Mr. Hunter, I've made a decision. I'm captain of this boat. Now shut the fuck up!